Have you ever felt a chill around someone, a subtle tension you can't quite explain, as if their presence alone is quietly draining the life out of you? That feeling isn't imagination, and it isn't coincidence. It's your mind and heart sending signals, whispering warnings that something is wrong. Too often we dismiss these instincts, brushing them aside as paranoia, as overthinking, as nothing. But the truth is, some people carry darkness within them, not always visible, not always loud, but powerful enough to disrupt your peace, your focus, and your joy without you even realizing it. Imagine walking through your day carrying a hidden weight, invisible but heavy, sapping your energy, clouding your thoughts, and keeping you from reaching the life you deserve. That weight can be someone in your life, a coworker, a friend, a family member, whose intentions are far from pure. And the danger is that it's subtle. They smile, they talk, they appear normal, even kind, yet their actions are quietly manipulative, corrosive, and damaging. This is why awareness is crucial. Recognizing the presence of someone harmful before their influence grows too strong can save you weeks, months, even years of emotional turmoil and lost potential. You owe it to yourself to notice the signs, to pay attention to the small things that signal deeper patterns of deceit, envy, and control. When you stay alert, when you sharpen your awareness, you reclaim control of your emotional landscape. You begin to protect your energy, your decisions, your happiness, and the reward for that vigilance is enormous. It's the freedom to feel safe again, to trust your own mind and instincts, to invest your time and energy only in relationships that uplift and empower you. It's the peace of knowing you are no longer unknowingly trapped in someone else's web of manipulation. By staying with this message until the end, you will gain clarity. You will start seeing behaviors that were once invisible with shocking sharpness. You will learn how to distinguish true kindness from subtle sabotage, how to recognize when someone's presence is toxic before it becomes overwhelming. And more than that, you will feel a shift inside yourself, a surge of confidence, courage, and self-protection that refuses to be ignored. This is not just about spotting danger. This is about taking your life back. This is about realizing that your time, energy, and dreams are precious, and no one has the right to quietly steal them while you remain unaware. By paying attention now, by opening your eyes to the signs hidden in plain sight, you begin a journey of empowerment. You begin to stand taller, think clearer, and act with precision. So lean in, let your instincts guide you, and prepare yourself to see the truth that many ignore. By the end of this message, you won't just recognize the shadows around you. You will learn how to step out of them and reclaim the light and energy that is rightfully yours. You deserve that clarity, that freedom, and that power. And it begins with paying attention today. Evil rarely announces itself with a warning sign. It doesn't march in with flashing lights or bold declarations. Most of the time, it hides behind smiles, friendly words, and gestures that seem harmless or even kind. This is what makes it so dangerous. It doesn't scream, it seeps. It infiltrates your life quietly, reshaping your sense of reality without you noticing, planting doubt where confidence once lived, and sowing tension where peace once flourished. The people who carry this darkness are masters of disguise. They mimic kindness. They mirror your hopes. They flatter and joke in ways that make you let your guard down. But underneath, their motives are self-serving. Every smile might be calculated, every compliment a subtle form of control. And because they move invisibly, it's easy to question yourself instead of them. You might wonder, am I overreacting? Am I too sensitive? These thoughts are the traps they set. The moment you doubt your own perception, you give them power over your emotions, your focus, your sense of safety. But here's the truth that changes everything. Your instincts exist for a reason. Your unease, your subtle discomfort, the feeling that something is off. These are not flaws in your perception. They are signals. They are your mind and body alerting you to a presence that does not serve you. Recognizing this as a gift, it is the first step toward reclaiming your autonomy, toward rebuilding your life around energy, relationships, and opportunities that nourish you rather than drain you. Imagine what it feels like to finally trust your own judgment completely, to walk into a room and feel empowered instead of wary, to invest your time and attention where it truly matters. This is not a fantasy. It is the result of seeing clearly, of refusing to ignore the subtle patterns that others hope you overlook. It is the result of paying attention, of protecting your energy with the ferocity it deserves. Every toxic interaction you notice, every small manipulation you identify, is a victory. Each recognition strengthens your boundaries, sharpens your awareness, and rebuilds the confidence that may have been chipped away over time. This is not just survival, it is transformation. By understanding that darkness can hide behind light, you learn to differentiate true allies from those who would silently harm you. You begin to see the world in high definition, noticing nuances that were invisible before, sensing danger before it strikes, and guarding your emotional life like the precious resource it is. The empowerment that comes from this awareness cannot be overstated. It gives you a choice in every interaction, a pause before every reaction, a clarity before every decision. You stop being a passive observer in your own life. You reclaim the power to shape your environment, to protect your mind, and to preserve your peace. This is how you rise above manipulation. This is how you honor yourself. The people who carry hidden darkness are not stronger than you. They are only effective because you haven't fully seen them yet. Once you do, once you feel it in your bones and acknowledge it without fear or denial, you step into a version of yourself that is untouchable by their tactics, unstoppable in your pursuit of clarity, and fearless in defending the life you are meant to live. Have you noticed how some people leave you feeling exhausted, as if every interaction takes pieces of your energy and leaves your spirit thinner than before? That sensation is not imagined, and it is not trivial. It is a warning. The energy you give, the focus you invest, the peace you hold, these are precious, non-renewable resources, and when someone consistently drains them, they are taking more than your attention, they are taking your life force. This is not about personality clashes or minor annoyances. This is about a force that quietly erodes your vitality, leaving you anxious, restless, or inexplicably fatigued. It may appear as small frustrations, a joke that cuts a little too deep, a comment that lingers in your mind long after it is spoken. The pattern is subtle, but your body recognizes it before your mind can fully grasp it. Your intuition knows. That sense of heaviness, the knot in your stomach, the tension in your chest, these are signals from your subconscious that your environment is compromised. And understanding this truth is revolutionary. Recognizing the people who sap your energy is the first step toward reclaiming your life. You have the right to be surrounded by those who uplift, who inspire, who leave you feeling alive rather than depleted. No one has the right to take that from you, not under the guise of friendship, loyalty, or love. This awareness transforms your choices. You begin to prioritize your energy like the precious asset it is. You notice how you feel after conversations, after meetings, after time spent with certain individuals. You begin to distinguish between relationships that nourish and those that consume. Every observation sharpens your clarity, reinforcing your capacity to protect your peace. And with that clarity comes freedom. The freedom to step back, the freedom to set boundaries, the freedom to no longer tolerate emotional theft disguised as normalcy. This is empowerment in its purest form. When you honor your own energy, you declare to yourself and the world that your well-being is non-negotiable. You stop explaining, rationalizing, or excusing behaviors that harm you. You stop questioning your own instincts and start trusting them with unwavering certainty. Every step toward protecting your energy strengthens your confidence and resilience. You realize that the world is full of individuals who will try to exploit your kindness, your patience, and your attention, but none of that has power over you unless you allow it. Recognizing the drain is not a sign of weakness. It is a demonstration of self-respect, courage, and intelligence. You are no longer passive in the presence of those who seek to weaken you. Instead, you are alert, deliberate in preserving your vitality. You begin to see clearly who lifts you and who diminishes you, and you make decisions that reflect this clarity. This is how transformation begins. Energy, once stolen unknowingly, is reclaimed. Confidence, once chipped away, is rebuilt. Life, once clouded by subtle toxicity, becomes luminous, vibrant, and aligned with your true purpose. by trusting the signals within you, by honoring the subtle alarms your body and mind provide, you step into a life where every moment, every interaction, every connection serves your growth, your power, and your freedom. You become untouchable by those who would drain you, unstoppable in your pursuit of clarity, and unwavering in your commitment to protect the energy that fuels your dreams. There is a truth most people refuse to face. Not everyone around you has your best interests at heart. Some people smile while plotting, some encourage while subtly undermining, and some speak words of support while quietly chipping away at your confidence. The danger lies in their invisibility, in their ability to appear harmless, even kind. Your mind may dismiss it at first, telling you that you are overthinking, that nothing is really wrong. But deep down, your instincts know the difference between genuine care and calculated manipulation. That knowledge is your first line of defense. Honoring it is the first act of courage. When you allow yourself to see clearly, to identify the subtle patterns of deceit, you take back control over your life, your emotions, and your decisions. This clarity is transformative. It gives you the power to act before damage is done, to protect your inner world from erosion. Every subtle lie, every act of sabotage, every attempt to make you doubt yourself becomes visible once you choose to observe without fear or denial. This is not paranoia, it is precision. It is intelligence applied to survival and growth. You learn to notice the pauses in conversation, the glances that linger too long, the compliments that feel like traps, the small ways someone maneuvers to create doubt or discomfort. These are not random actions. They are the footprints of someone who does not have your best interests at heart. Seeing them does not make you weak. It makes you aware. And awareness is power. Once you understand the landscape, you can navigate it with clarity and strength. You can choose when to engage, when to withdraw, and when to confront with confidence and purpose. You begin to protect your boundaries fiercely, without guilt, without apology, because you understand the stakes. Your peace is priceless, and you will not allow it to be stolen silently by those who thrive on manipulation. The people who operate in darkness feed on hesitation, on self-doubt, on your uncertainty. When you stand firm in observation, when you recognize the truth of their presence, you strip them of influence. Their tactics rely on invisibility, and once you shine light on them, their power fades. This is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional freedom, toward transforming your interactions, and toward surrounding yourself with energy that elevates rather than drains. You learn to listen not just with your ears, but with your intuition, your body, your awareness. Every feeling of unease becomes a signal, every fleeting discomfort a guidepost, every inner warning a compass pointing you toward safety, strength, and clarity. Your life begins to shift as you realign your attention, investing in those who nurture and challenge you positively, while cutting off those who seek to undermine your growth. The clarity that emerges is liberating. You move through your days with intention, your choices guided by self-respect and insight, your relationships defined by trust and authenticity. By paying attention to the subtle signs of hidden malice, you become untouchable by manipulation, unshakable in your convictions, and unstoppable in your pursuit of a life aligned with your purpose, your peace, and your power. This is not just protection, it is mastery. It is taking command of your inner world and refusing to let anyone quietly steal the life that belongs to you. Your peace is a weapon. It is a force that defines the quality of your life, the clarity of your decisions, and the depth of your joy. Yet so many allow it to be stolen by subtle manipulators who wear masks of friendship, charm, or love. They thrive in the spaces where attention is scattered, where intuition is ignored, and where silence becomes complicity. They depend on your hesitation, your polite avoidance of conflict, and your desire to see the good in others. But when you refuse to ignore the signs, when you listen to the quiet alarms your mind and body send, you reclaim a power most people never even realize they possess. Every act of awareness, every recognition of subtle toxicity is a declaration. Your energy belongs to you, and it will not be taken without your consent. This clarity brings liberation. You no longer feel trapped by uncertainty or haunted by unexplained exhaustion. You begin to understand the patterns that once kept you second-guessing yourself. And with that understanding comes confidence so deep that no manipulation can shake it. The presence of someone who carries hidden darkness can feel suffocating, but it is also a teacher. It shows you where your boundaries have been porous, where your attention has been scattered, and where your discernment has been weak. By seeing it, you learn to strengthen every part of yourself, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You learn to trust your instincts without apology, to honor your feelings without hesitation, and to protect your time and energy with unwavering commitment. This is the essence of transformation. Recognizing toxicity is not merely about avoidance. It is about empowerment. It is about stepping into a space where you are in full command of your life, where the decisions you make are aligned with your highest good, and where the presence of harmful influence no longer dictates your emotional state. You cultivate a mental sharpness that allows you to spot subtle manipulation before it takes root, to differentiate between kindness and deceit, and to act decisively without fear of judgment or retaliation. Your energy becomes a shield, your awareness a sword, and your peace an unassailable fortress. Those who operate in darkness are weakened the moment you recognize them. Their subtle attacks lose potency, their manipulations crumble, and their attempts to control or influence you fail against the armor of your clarity. You become untouchable, not through aggression, but through insight, discipline, and self-respect. The life you create from this place of awareness is richer, more intentional, and profoundly liberating. Every interaction, every decision, every investment of your time and focus becomes purposeful. You cultivate relationships that lift you, environments that nurture you, and experiences that strengthen you. You stop losing yourself in the shadows of others' intentions and start shining in your own light. This is not just survival, it is mastery over your inner world. It is the realization that no one can undermine your peace unless you permit it, and that your energy, focus, and joy are yours to guard, protect, and multiply. The moment you internalize this truth, you step into a life of unstoppable power, unwavering clarity, and unshakable freedom. Every subtle warning you notice, every instinct you honor, is a step toward a life where manipulation has no place, and where your spirit thrives untouched. There is a subtle art to recognizing those who thrive on chaos and control, and it begins with attention. Every glance that lingers too long, every compliment that feels slightly off, every interaction that leaves you doubting your own worth. These are not coincidences. They are deliberate signals, markers of an intent you may not yet fully see. Your mind may want to rationalize, to excuse, to soften the edges of discomfort with logic. Do not fall into that trap. Discomfort is a messenger. It is a call from your deepest self to pay attention, to observe, to act with discernment. Ignoring it allows the manipulator to continue unseen, hidden behind charm and false warmth, quietly siphoning your confidence, your energy, your clarity. But when you choose awareness, you change the dynamics entirely. You reclaim control over your inner world. You begin to recognize patterns where others see randomness. You sense motives where others see mere words. And in that recognition, you gain the ultimate advantage, the power to protect yourself, to navigate interactions deliberately, and to preserve your mental and emotional integrity. The people who harbor hidden malice are skilled at exploiting hesitation. They rely on your indecision, your desire to maintain harmony, and your hope that others are fundamentally good. They are experts at creating confusion, at making you question your own perceptions. But once you commit to seeing clearly, to trusting your instincts without apology, their tactics lose their edge. You are no longer a passive participant in their games. You become an active force, aware, alert, and unwavering. Every boundary you set, every instinct you honor, every decision you make with clarity weakens their influence. This is empowerment in its most profound form. You learn that peace is not a luxury, it is a weapon and a shield. It is the foundation on which your confidence, your focus, and your success are built. Allowing it to be compromised is optional, defending it is essential. And defending it begins with observation and recognition. The moment you identify subtle manipulation, The moment you notice the way someone's words or actions seek to destabilize you, you reclaim authority over your life. You stop doubting yourself and start trusting your perception. You stop granting permission to those who would diminish you and start prioritizing those who elevate you. This awareness is contagious to your inner strength. It reinforces the habit of self-respect, sharpens your emotional intelligence, and amplifies your ability to make decisions that align with your highest good. Every subtle warning you heed becomes a shield against future attempts to control or drain you. You begin to move through life with a sense of sovereignty, with the understanding that your energy is sacred and that it cannot be taken without your consent. Manipulators may continue to operate, but they no longer have power over you. Your clarity acts as a barrier, your intuition as a guide, and your commitment to self-preservation as an unyielding force. The life that emerges from this awareness is richer, more focused, and more intentional. It is a life where manipulation fails, where your confidence thrives, and where every interaction reflects the integrity, strength, and freedom you have fought to reclaim. You are no longer vulnerable to the subtle theft of your spirit. You are untouchable, unstoppable, and fully in command of the life you were always meant to live. Unusual activity has been detected from your device. Try again later. 9,718,239 E6, E714 B55, DFW. The most dangerous individuals are not the ones who scream or strike. They are the ones who smile while plotting, who move silently in the shadows, who twist words and actions to create doubt and fear. These people do not confront you openly because they do not need to. Their strength lies in invisibility, in subtle erosion, in the ability to make you question your own perception. But your mind and heart are not powerless. They are equipped with an internal compass, a radar that senses imbalance, dishonesty, and ill intent. You must learn to trust it. Every time you ignore that inner voice, you give a sliver of power to the person who seeks to undermine you. Every time you dismiss discomfort as oversensitivity, you allow manipulation to take root. But when you choose to observe, to discern, to honor your instincts, you claim authority over your environment, over your choices, and over your emotional landscape. Awareness is the weapon that dismantles hidden agendas. It allows you to recognize the tactics used to destabilize your confidence. Subtle sarcasm disguised as humor, faint criticism hidden in compliments, isolation presented as concern. These are not minor actions. They are indicators of a mindset that does not care for your well-being. Seeing them is not paranoia. It is precision. It is intelligence. It is the first step toward liberation. You begin to understand the mechanics of influence, of emotional erosion, and of manipulation. You realize that energy is finite, that time is sacred, and that not everyone deserves a seat in your inner world. This understanding transforms how you interact with people. You stop giving power to those who thrive on confusion. You stop surrendering your peace to those who feed on uncertainty. Every boundary you establish, every instinct you follow, every decision you make with clarity reinforces your resilience. Manipulators rely on hesitation and self-doubt. They depend on your willingness to see the best in everyone and to excuse the harm done. But when you act with awareness, their control diminishes. You no longer need to fight with words or actions. Their influence dissolves in the light of your clarity. The life you create from this state of awareness is rich with intention and free from invisible chains. Your relationships become purposeful, your energy focused, and your mind sharp. You begin to attract people who elevate rather than drain, who nurture rather than sabotage. The subtle signs of malice you once overlooked now guide you towards safety, strength, and growth. You move through the world with confidence, knowing that you are equipped to identify deception before it reaches you. Every interaction is filtered through awareness, every decision reinforced by self-respect, and every choice aligned with your highest good. You are no longer a passive participant in the lives of others. You are an active force, untouchable by manipulation, unshakable in your clarity, and unstoppable in your pursuit of peace, growth, and mastery. Awareness is not just protection, it is transformation. It turns every warning into empowerment, every doubt into insight, and every encounter into an opportunity to rise stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. Your intuition is a gift, a radar finely tuned to truth, morality, and intent. It is the part of you that senses imbalance before the mind can rationalize it, that feels tension in the presence of hidden motives, that detects the subtle erosion of your energy. When you honor this gift, you reclaim control over the dynamics that shape your life. Too often, people ignore these signals because they feel uncomfortable or inconvenient. They hope for the best, they excuse behavior, they rationalize words that sting or actions that unsettle, but this hope is costly. Every moment you ignore your instincts, every time you dismiss the quiet alarms within, you give permission for someone's darkness to seep into your life. True strength begins with awareness. The recognition of subtle threats is not fear, it is clarity. It is the conscious decision to value your energy, your time, and your peace above the comfort of avoidance or denial. Toxic individuals rely on distraction and dilution of focus. They thrive on your tolerance, your hesitation, and your instinct to forgive what cannot be forgiven. But once you begin to act with awareness, once you honor the signals your mind and body send, the power shifts. You no longer operate in the shadows of manipulation. You stand in the light of self-possession. Every subtle critique, every half-smile, every ambiguous action you notice becomes a marker, a guide, a signal that your boundaries need reinforcement. This awareness is transformative. It teaches you to recognize the difference between those who seek to uplift and those who aim to destabilize. It trains your perception to filter deception from sincerity, malice from goodwill, and manipulation from honest intention. The consequence is profound. Your relationships evolve, your decisions sharpen, and your life begins to reflect the highest version of yourself. You are no longer at the mercy of external forces. You are a sentry guarding your inner world with clarity, courage, and unyielding resolve. Each boundary you set, each instinct you honor, each decision made from insight rather than reaction, builds a fortress around your mental and emotional well-being. Toxicity cannot penetrate where awareness reigns. It falters, diminishes, and ultimately retreats. And with its retreat comes freedom, the freedom to focus on growth, to nurture meaningful connections, and to cultivate a life aligned with your values and vision. The subtle signals you once overlooked now serve as guideposts toward empowerment. You move through the world with discernment and purpose, recognizing threats before they gain traction, reinforcing strength before it is challenged, and cultivating an energy field that repels negativity naturally. Awareness is not just survival, it is mastery. It transforms fear into vigilance, confusion into understanding, and vulnerability into unshakable confidence. The moment you begin to honor your intuition fully, the moment you respond to subtle signs of manipulation with clarity and decisiveness, you reclaim sovereignty over your life. You become untouchable, not through aggression, but through insight, discipline, and self-respect. Every interaction becomes a reflection of this strength, every choice a testament to your commitment to protect your peace, and every step forward a movement toward unstoppable personal power. Manipulation is often silent, insidious, and invisible to those who are unaware. It does not always arrive with loud accusations or dramatic confrontations. Instead, it creeps in through small, calculated gestures, words laced with hidden meanings, and actions designed to undermine confidence without leaving obvious scars. These tactics thrive in environments where awareness is low and boundaries are porous. But the moment you sharpen your perception, the moment you recognize the subtle signs, the entire dynamic changes. You no longer move through the world blindly. Every word, every glance, every action is filtered through a lens of discernment. You begin to see the intent behind the mask, the agenda behind the smile, and the erosion behind the praise. And with this vision comes freedom. Freedom from confusion, freedom from doubt, freedom from the invisible forces that previously controlled your emotional and mental state. Toxic individuals rely on uncertainty to maintain control. They exploit hesitation, they twist ambiguity into fear, and they use charm as a weapon to disarm suspicion. But once you operate from clarity, their tactics lose power. They cannot manipulate what is fully observed, and they cannot influence what is guarded by unwavering self-respect. Recognizing the presence of ill intent is not an invitation to conflict. It is an opportunity to protect your energy, to strengthen your boundaries, and to prioritize relationships that elevate rather than diminish you. Each time you identify subtle attempts to destabilize your confidence, you take ownership of your life. You stop giving permission for negativity to penetrate your mental and emotional space. You stop excusing behavior that is harmful. You stop rationalizing motives that are misaligned with your well-being. This act of recognition transforms the way you live. It makes you vigilant but not paranoid. It sharpens your intuition while deepening your self-trust. It allows you to engage with the world fully, without fear, but with a clear understanding of who deserves access to your energy. The journey toward mastery of your environment begins with observation. Every discomfort you feel, every hesitation you experience, every small alarm triggered within your body is a signal from your subconscious, guiding you toward awareness and action. Honoring these signals is a declaration. Your peace is non-negotiable, your energy is sacred, and your clarity is your greatest ally. As you strengthen this practice, you cultivate a presence that cannot be undermined. Your life begins to reflect intentionality, purpose, and self-mastery. Toxic influence cannot penetrate an individual who stands firmly in their awareness. Your decisions become deliberate, your interactions purposeful, and your boundaries unyielding. This clarity radiates outward, influencing not only how others treat you, but also how you navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and cultivate resilience. Every subtle attempt at manipulation becomes a lesson, a checkpoint, a reminder of the strength that comes from vigilance and self-respect. You are no longer vulnerable to hidden agendas because your perception is active, your instincts are trusted, and your boundaries are non-negotiable. Awareness transforms you from a passive participant into a commanding presence, capable of creating a life defined not by the manipulation of others, but by the integrity, strength, and freedom you have chosen to embody. The energy you allow into your life determines the trajectory of your growth, your peace, and your happiness. Every interaction, every conversation, every subtle gesture from those around you has the power to shape your mindset, influence your decisions, and either fuel or drain your spirit. Recognizing the people who carry hidden darkness is not an exercise in fear. It is an act of preservation. It is the conscious choice to surround yourself with those who uplift, who challenge you constructively, and who align with the life you are building. Toxic individuals operate on a different wavelength. They seek to destabilize, to confuse, and to extract power through subtle means. They thrive on the trust, compassion, and optimism of others, turning these virtues into tools for control. But when you develop the ability to see clearly, when you listen to the quiet alerts within your mind and body, their power over you diminishes. You become immune to manipulation, not by confrontation, but through discernment, by valuing your own energy above the satisfaction of pleasing or accommodating those who seek harm. Each warning sign you notice is an opportunity to reclaim your authority over your life. Every instance of discomfort or unease is a signal, an indicator that something is misaligned. Honoring these signals does not make you paranoid, it makes you wise. It allows you to create boundaries that protect your mental and emotional well-being. It allows you to invest your energy where it is reciprocated, appreciated, and respected. Toxic influence feeds on indecision and hesitation. It grows in the cracks of self-doubt and thrives when clarity is absent. But when you choose awareness, when you commit to observing the motives and actions of those around you without bias or wishful thinking, the dynamic shifts entirely. You no longer exist as a passive target. You operate from a position of power, vigilance, and uncompromising self-respect. This awareness transforms the very fabric of your life. It guides you toward relationships that are genuine, purposeful, and mutually enriching. It helps you recognize patterns that previously went unnoticed, allowing you to act before negativity can take root. Your focus becomes intentional, your interactions become aligned with your values, and your energy remains protected from those who seek to destabilize it. Each step you take with clarity strengthens your resilience, your confidence, and your inner authority. Toxicity loses its ability to infiltrate a life that is intentional, vigilant, and self-aware. Your instincts, once ignored or dismissed, become trusted allies. Your boundaries, once vague or flexible, become unshakable. And your sense of self, once vulnerable to manipulation, becomes fortified with insight, courage, and unwavering commitment to your well-being. You no longer wait for harm to appear. You anticipate, discern, and act with deliberate purpose. You become a force of clarity and strength, moving through the world with confidence, recognizing the hidden motives around you, and maintaining the peace, energy, and focus necessary to thrive. Awareness is not merely protection, it is empowerment, transformation, and the foundation of a life unshakable by the hidden malice of others. Trust is the most precious currency you can offer, yet it is also the most vulnerable. Giving it to the wrong person can shift the balance of your life, leaving you depleted, uncertain, and disoriented. Evil thrives on the exploitation of trust, masking manipulation behind smiles, laughter, and seemingly innocent gestures. But every time you sense hesitation in your heart, every time a small voice inside whispers doubt, it is not weakness. It is your intuition speaking the language of survival. You have the right, the obligation even, to listen closely, to honor these internal signals, and to act with deliberate wisdom. The moment you recognize that trust has been weaponized against you, you reclaim control. You reclaim the authority to decide who enters your emotional space, whose influence you allow to shape your thoughts, and whose words you internalize. Toxic individuals depend on the belief that their hidden motives will go unnoticed. They count on your optimism, your empathy, and your hope that people are inherently good. But when you refuse to grant unearned trust, when you observe before you accept, you dismantle their strategy. Awareness transforms suspicion into clarity, hesitation into empowerment, and doubt into an actionable lens through which every relationship can be evaluated. Each interaction becomes a lesson, a checkpoint, a test of alignment with your core values. You start to recognize patterns, repeated attempts to control, subtle gaslighting, the quiet undermining of your confidence. These are not coincidences. They are deliberate choices made by individuals whose intentions do not honor your well-being. Yet, understanding these signs is not about creating walls, it is about building gates that only open to those who genuinely respect, support, and elevate your life. By strengthening these gates, by learning to discern intention beneath charm and flattery, you protect your mental clarity, your emotional stability, and your ability to thrive. Toxic influence cannot endure in a mind that is vigilant, self-aware, and grounded in truth. When you trust yourself more than the manipulations of others, you stop being a passive participant in your life. You stop rationalizing harmful behavior. You stop bending to the invisible weight of someone else's control. Each conscious decision to protect your energy becomes a declaration of self-respect, a signal to the world and to yourself that your peace is non-negotiable. The clarity you cultivate serves as a shield and a compass, guiding every choice and interaction. Your intuition, once underestimated, becomes a guiding force that keeps you aligned with people, opportunities, and experiences that nurture growth rather than drain it. Every subtle test of trust you recognize strengthens your capacity to act decisively, to cut away what is harmful, and to embrace what is genuine. You are no longer vulnerable to deception because your perception is sharpened, your instincts are trusted, and your boundaries are unwavering. Empowerment is not found in avoiding people, but in seeing them clearly, understanding their intent, and choosing consciously how much access they have to your life. This mastery of trust is a declaration. Your energy, your mind, and your heart are sacred. And from this foundation of awareness and self-respect, everything you create, every connection you cultivate, and every boundary you enforce becomes a reflection of your unwavering commitment to a life free from manipulation and full of clarity, strength, and purpose. Power has a way of revealing true character. The people who seek to dominate, manipulate, or control will often mask their intentions with charm, wit, or a polished exterior. They rely on your willingness to see only the surface, to ignore the subtle patterns that betray their motives. But power cannot hide from clarity. When you sharpen your awareness, when you pay attention to how someone behaves in moments when they have nothing to gain, the truth becomes undeniable. The subtle dismissals, the quiet envy, the insidious undermining, they speak volumes. And the moment you notice, you gain the upper hand. You realize that power is not theirs to impose over you unless you allow it. By understanding the dynamics of control, you reclaim your own authority, your own energy, and your own voice. Toxic people thrive on the unseen cracks in confidence, the hesitation before a decision, the doubt in your mind. They measure influence by the depth of your trust and the reach of your kindness. But these tools of manipulation lose their potency when you approach every interaction with discernment. Awareness is your armor and discernment is your weapon. You begin to see patterns, the relentless need to be right, the constant shifting of blame, the subtle gaslighting that makes you question your perception of reality. Each observation strengthens your ability to act decisively, to set boundaries, and to protect your mental and emotional well-being. Recognizing the hunger for control is not about becoming paranoid. It is about becoming intentional. It is about creating a space in your life where influence is earned, where respect is mutual, and where manipulation has no foothold. The power lies not in confrontation, but in preparation, not in retaliation, but in vigilance. When you operate from a place of understanding, you transform fear into clarity and suspicion into strategy. You begin to recognize who contributes to your growth and who drains your energy under the guise of friendship, mentorship, or partnership. This clarity allows you to make choices aligned with your highest good, ensuring that your time, attention, and energy are invested wisely. Every interaction with a person who seeks to dominate becomes a test of your boundaries, a moment to reinforce your strength, and an opportunity to affirm your self-respect. You learn that you cannot control others, but you can control your reaction. You cannot dictate their behavior, but you can dictate how much access they have to your life. Each moment of awareness, each decision to protect your inner world compounds into a shield of resilience that cannot be pierced by deceit, envy, or manipulation. Your life begins to reflect the boundaries you enforce, the clarity you maintain, and the uncompromising respect you hold for yourself. Those who once attempted to control your energy find it impenetrable. You move with purpose, with confidence, and with the unwavering knowledge that no one can destabilize the life you are intentionally building. Power is no longer something that intimidates you. It becomes a lens through which you evaluate every connection, every interaction, and every influence in your world, ensuring that only what strengthens, uplifts, and aligns with your vision is allowed to remain. Awareness is the ultimate form of power, and through it, you become unstoppable. Silence can be a teacher if you're willing to listen. Pay attention to the energy around you, to the words left unsaid, and to the intentions hidden behind a smile. Evil does not always announce itself with loud accusations or dramatic acts. Often it slips quietly into your life, a subtle erosion of your confidence, your peace, your clarity. The absence of transparency, the evasive answers, the consistent lack of accountability, these are all signals you cannot afford to ignore. When someone consistently avoids honesty, they are attempting to manipulate perception, to create a fog that benefits them while keeping you uncertain. Your mind may try to rationalize their behavior, to give them the benefit of the doubt, to hope that their actions are innocent. But hope, when unanchored in reality, can become the very tool that allows harm to continue unchecked. Listening to the silence, observing the gaps between words and actions, grants you a perspective most people never take the time to notice. You begin to see a pattern emerging, one that signals intention rather than coincidence. When someone's behavior consistently leaves you doubting, anxious, or questioning yourself, it is not a flaw in you. It is a reflection of their moral compass. Recognizing this is not easy. It demands courage, self-trust, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. But every moment you hesitate to see clearly is a moment your life is influenced by forces that do not have your best interest at heart. Your awareness is your power. Your ability to discern the truth, your greatest defense. Every pause, every observation, every careful analysis of actions versus words builds a shield that is invisible yet unbreakable. You begin to notice how their behavior shifts depending on who is watching, how they attempt to manipulate emotions, and how they prey on vulnerabilities. This awareness sharpens your intuition, allowing you to act decisively before harm takes root. It is not about fear. It is about empowerment. You learn to honor your inner voice, to respect the signals your mind and body send when something feels wrong, and to take protective action without hesitation. Each act of recognition and boundary setting strengthens you, transforms doubt into clarity, and transforms anxiety into agency. You start to live life on your terms, guided by observation, discernment, and unwavering self-respect. The silence no longer scares you, it informs you. The gaps between words and deeds become a map that directs your energy towards safety, growth, and alignment. Toxic influence loses its grip when you refuse to ignore these subtle signs, when you choose awareness over naivety, and when you understand that protecting your peace is not selfish, it is essential. Every interaction becomes a lesson, every inconsistency a warning, and every evasive gesture an opportunity to fortify your boundaries. Through this, you cultivate a life where trust is granted deliberately, where respect is mutual, and where manipulation has no place to hide. Silence teaches you clarity, vigilance, and strength. And when you master this lesson, you move through the world unshaken, uncompromised, and unbound, fully aware of the energies you allow into your life and fully empowered to act in alignment with your highest truth. Every interaction leaves a mark, whether visible or invisible. The energy we exchange with others shapes our thoughts, our emotions, and even our decisions. A person with malevolent intent does not simply act against you. They slowly infiltrate your mental space, planting seeds of doubt, fear, and confusion. They thrive in the corners of your mind where uncertainty lingers, where hesitation grows, and where self-trust begins to fade. Recognizing this influence is not about becoming paranoid. It is about reclaiming control over your own inner world. When you notice that certain people consistently leave you drained, anxious, or questioning your worth, it is a signal that your energy is being compromised. These are not minor annoyances or fleeting frustrations. They are the echoes of a presence that seeks to destabilize your confidence. The first step toward liberation is to understand that you are responsible for what you allow into your mind. Emotional boundaries are not optional, they are essential. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control what you accept, what you tolerate, and what you let shape your reality. Every moment spent doubting yourself under the weight of someone else's manipulation is a moment of power surrendered. Awareness transforms that power back into your hands. By paying close attention to how you feel after encounters with certain people, you gain insight into their true intentions. Does the conversation leave you questioning your memory, your judgment, or your values? Do you find yourself second-guessing decisions you once felt confident about? These reactions are not coincidences. They are deliberate reflections of influence designed to weaken your resolve. Understanding this is liberating because it allows you to respond consciously rather than react unconsciously. You can create distance, enforce boundaries, or disengage entirely without guilt, recognizing that protecting your energy is an act of strength, not selfishness. Each time you honor your emotional signals, you reinforce self-respect, resilience, and clarity. Toxic influence loses its power when it is named, acknowledged, and confronted internally. The more you pay attention to the subtle ways someone affects your thoughts and emotions, the more adept you become at shielding yourself from harm. It is a practice of self-preservation that does not require confrontation, aggression, or revenge. It requires discernment, vigilance, and unwavering commitment to your own well-being. Every choice to step back, every refusal to internalize negativity, every reaffirmation of your own truth compounds into an unshakable strength. You begin to see life differently, not as a series of people to please, but as a space to curate carefully, filled only with those who uplift, challenge constructively, and honor your presence. The moment you embrace this mindset, you reclaim your mental and emotional territory. You learn to trust yourself, to follow your instincts, and to refuse access to those whose intentions are not aligned with your growth. Energy becomes currency, and you spend it wisely, investing only in connections that enhance your life rather than diminish it. Every day becomes a practice in empowerment, a testament to your capacity to discern, protect, and thrive. Your life transforms when you understand that influence is not merely external, it is internal, shaped by what you allow, what you question, and what you defend. Awareness, vigilance, and the refusal to surrender your energy become the pillars of a life lived with purpose, strength, and unshakable self-respect. There is a truth you must accept. Not everyone who smiles at you carries goodwill. Some people wear kindness like a mask, hiding motives that aim to control, manipulate, or exploit. It is uncomfortable to acknowledge, but facing this reality is necessary for your growth and survival. The moment you start seeing the subtle signals, the carefully planted lies, the backhanded compliments, the veiled threats, you begin to reclaim clarity. You awaken from the fog that keeps you trapped in cycles of confusion and self-doubt. Awareness is your shield, and discernment is your sword. You are not powerless. You are capable of seeing through the illusions that others craft around themselves, illusions designed to make you question your own judgment. Each time you hesitate or feel uncertain about someone's intentions, listen closely. Your instincts are more precise than you realize. They are finely tuned instruments shaped by every experience you have lived, every betrayal you have endured, every moment you have learned to survive. Ignoring them is surrendering your agency. Trusting them is reclaiming your strength. Toxic individuals seek to erode the foundation of your confidence, to make you dependent on their validation, to make you doubt your worth so that their control feels justified. But this power is only theirs if you allow it. Each time you observe, each time you pause before reacting, each time you refuse to internalize their negativity, you dismantle their influence. You create distance not through confrontation, but through the quiet, unshakable assertion of your boundaries. Self-respect is not a luxury. It is your lifeline. It allows you to navigate relationships with clarity, to filter those who uplift you from those who deplete you. Do not fear this discernment. It is not cruel to protect your energy. It is courageous. It takes awareness, commitment, and an unyielding belief in your right to peace. As you become more attuned to the intentions of those around you, you will notice patterns. You will see that manipulation often comes disguised as concern, that criticism can be a weapon, and that praise can carry chains. Recognizing these patterns is liberating because it means you are no longer a passive participant in the games of others. You begin to operate from a position of strength, not reaction. You choose your proximity, your words, your trust. You do not need to explain, justify, or defend yourself. Your energy is precious and you protect it fiercely. This is not about anger or resentment. It is about self-preservation and empowerment. Every time you honor your instincts, you reinforce your boundaries and deepen your self-trust. You build a life where clarity replaces confusion, confidence replaces doubt, and peace replaces chaos. This is a skill, a practice, a mindset that transforms your inner world. It creates a space where you can flourish, where toxic influence loses its power, and where your life becomes a reflection of your own choices rather than the manipulations of others. The moment you embrace this truth, you realize your own strength. You are no longer at the mercy of someone else's intentions.